Hey, this is Kyle Madson with your top stories on Sports 1140. The Sacramento Kings, well, they just keep on winning. They beat the Timberwolves last night, 141-130 at the Golden One Center. Nemanja Bjelica had a huge night against his former team. He had a team-high 25 points, 5 rebounds, 3 assists, and 2 blocks. He hit 4 of the Kings' franchise record 19 three-pointers. Sacramento's off today. They host the Golden State Warriors tomorrow. And speaking of the Warriors, they got beat down 113-93 at home against the Toronto Raptors without Kawhi Leonard last night. Kyle Lowry led the way for Toronto with 23 points, 5 rebounds, and 12 assists. Week 15 of the NFL kicks off tonight with a doozy on Thursday Night Football. It's the Kansas City Chiefs hosting the Los Angeles Chargers in an AFC West showdown with major playoff implications. Listen to that game right here on Sports 1140 with coverage beginning at 5 o'clock. It's 7:02. Time to put your lights up. If you haven't, Squeaky Clean can hang. Visit squeakyclean.com. Those are your top stories. Now back to the drive on Sports 1140 KHT.
Trucky, ducky, quack, quack.
Rise and shine, sleepyhead.
I'm not letting you go to work today.
Wait, what?
Everybody, listen up.
Welcome to The Drive.
Morning, morning, morning.
You're gonna talk.
Get on the phone at 339-1140.
Pretty awesome, huh?
Jump in on our text line at 441140.
Everyone is talking about it. You must know that.
The Drive starts now.
Oh, it's snowing in Cleveland? They going crazy out here. Oh, nuh-uh.
That's Frank Mason. Oh, Kings win, Kings win, the Kings win. All calls and all guests brought to you by the Firewings Hotline. 21 different flavors to choose from. Firewings.com. Just wing it. Jerry, you're on the air.
Good morning, guys. Making the drive, loving the show.
Thank you.
I'm going to tell you, the Lakers was a big game. The Warriors will be a big game. But the big game is really going to be the Dallas game. That is going to be the game, the Dallas game. We're already slightly looking up at Dallas. It's hard looking up at the Lakers and even looking up at Malone's Nuggets. But I believe the Mavericks is going to be the big game. Don't really care so much about the Warriors or the Lakers. What do you think?
Wow. Jerry, I can't go that far for a couple of reasons. First off, nothing's bigger rivalry-wise than Laker games, unless it's in the playoffs. Secondly, a win over the defending champions and a team that has won 3 of 4 titles is always huge. Oh, yeah, especially when they're, 90 minutes away, if that. But also, we don't play Dallas in Sacramento, that is, until March 21st. In fact, unless I'm missing something, I've looked a couple times. We play Dallas in Dallas this Sunday. And then I don't think, this is the third time I'm scanning, unless I'm goofy here, which could be a possibility. I don't see us playing them again. We have one matchup with Dallas at home, and that is March 21st, and then we turn around and play them again March 26th, and that's it. Dallas is one of those teams we play only 3 times.
And even looking up at Malone's Nuggets.
And I don't want to talk about Malone's Nuggets, Jerry. Frank, what do you think?
Oh, it's snowing in Cleveland? They going crazy out here. Oh, nuh-uh.
Iman Shumpert spoke to the press last night, too, about these separate.
Right now it's a feel-good thing, and, the one thing I'm trying to preach to them is we got to be able to, the same way we're able to win like this and feel this way when we win, when you're losing, you still have to play like you guys, you know what I mean? And we have to be okay. Every once in a while you're going to have a game in this league where you just don't have it, and you have to be okay with that. You have to accept that, and you got to be able to look your brothers in the face and say, we're going to come back better tomorrow. But, right now it's not that time, and we're not looking for that time. We're just trying to keep rolling, get these wins in the right direction, and, keep pushing forward.
A little off topic, but it was my favorite moment, at least off the floor, is that video with Frank, and clearly it's gone around this locker room.
Oh, man, yeah. Yeah, I mean, Frank is, like I said, he's one of those, we got a great chemistry on this team, and Frank is one of those guys that, ever since I got here, I've been laughing always smiling. He's always got something funny to say. A lot of people don't know how funny Frank is, but his demeanor doesn't change. As a teammate, he doesn't change. As a pro, he doesn't change. He's going to come in and get his work done, and he just brings a great energy to the locker room. So when he actually did that, he put it on his story. He wanted it to delete, and we got a hold of it, and we've had fun with it. The fans have had fun with it, so that meme will probably be around for a little while.
Frank Mason. Say it again. Frank said on his Twitter account, and I really caught this. I enjoyed this. Frank was talking about Yogi Ferrell last night, and he tweeted out 141 points at Golden One Center tonight. The scores went 3-fed, the number 3, and then FED. What am I missing?
Threeft? Say it again.
141 points in Golden One Center tonight. The scores went threeft.
Went
threeft.
Fed.
Three-fed? Whatever. Frank Mason was tweeting about how great the team was.
They're going crazy out here.
And how cool is that? Yogi Ferrell gets Frank's minutes, basically. And Ferrell comes off the bench and absolutely killed it. 17 points in 16 minutes. Made all 4 of his threes. He also had 6 assists, 2 boards, and a steal. Only 1 turnover, plus 14. Across the board, Yogi Ferrell, after sitting for like 15 freaking games, comes off the bench and just lights it up. The team doesn't win last night without Yogi Ferrell. And Frank Mason was a DNP. Frank Mason goes out on Twitter, and he's loving on his team. It's like, I can't look at this team and not see every single person seems super engaged. And I don't know who last night's MVP was. I want to give it to Yogi Ferrell. But shout out to Willie Cauley-Stein. We've been critical of Willie when I think it's appropriate. I think it's also appropriate to praise him. 14 points, 8 boards. Really good defense last night on Karl Anthony Towns, who had 19 and 11. But that's a quiet night for Karl Anthony Towns. And I really enjoyed, Willie has been horrific from the line this year. And at one point, they started to do Hackenstein on him and just send him to the free throw line. And I think he missed 4 in a row. And the final of the 4 was an air ball. And then he turned around and he made 4 or 5 down the stretch. And at one point, Iman Shumpert, after they fouled Willie, took him aside and kind of got in his ear. And Willie went 3 for 3 after that. It was when you airball in front of that many people, when you're shooting under 50% from the free throw stripe, and you're able to overcome that mentality. Willie had to make those shots, and not only did he make them from the free throw line, but he had a couple of dunks in the waning minutes of the game. They don't win the game if Willie doesn't do that last night. Everybody was on all cylinders. Nobody really had a bad game. Even De'Aaron Fox at 13 and 8. It's not a great game for him, but he was able to step aside and allow Yogi to get some shine and make sure he fed his teammates.
And didn't he have like 9 really quick points too?
He sure did. He absolutely did. He had a stretch there where they came out. And
he set the tone.
He set the tone. He was involved in a couple of runs. And Bogdan Bogdanović just continues to be act like an 8-year veteran. He had one feed to Marvin Bagley during a double team, and he split. It was a 2-hand pass through 2 guys, double teaming him. An amazing look. And Bagley with an easy jam. Bagley, by the way, 9 of 10 from the free throw line. 17 points, 10 boards, 0 turnovers, 3 assists, 4 of 5 from the field. Think about that, guys. 17 points on 5 shots.
They're going crazy out here.
Damn right they're going crazy out here. Real quick, I want to hear from Coach Dave Yeager. No, I do. I want to hear from Coach Yeager. No, I need to hear it. Frank, got to hear from Coach Yeager. Thank you. Here's Coach Yeager.
I think it was probably a pretty exciting game to watch if you're a fan. We enjoyed it as well. The ball was moving. We're better when we attack, and if we attack people defensively, then we got stops. When we were back on our heels, we didn't get stops. When we attacked, we scored on offense, and when we didn't attack and we didn't move the basketball, we struggled to score. So that was an exciting game, a lot of ups and downs. We can get better, keeping the basketball out of the paint. They scored 70 points in the paint, but I just, I love the chemistry that we have with our team. Guys are cheering for each other like crazy. I thought, hats off to Yogi Ferrell about being a professional and being ready for your opportunity, and we preach that with our young guys, staying ready, staying ready, staying ready. And, heck of a game. There's a lot of attaboys to go around. Happy to see, Nemanja hit a couple shots down the stretch. That always feels good when you're playing against your former team. And it's a very happy locker room tonight.
Very happy. Very happy locker room. Good on Dave Yeager. And coming up at 7:35, Coach Yeager did something for the team that they highlighted on TV last night. I think you're going to want to think about it. It's been a very trying year for Ben McLemore. And Coach Yeager doing things that really does bond the locker room. One great screenshot that was going around last night as they were walking off. You get locker room cam when they're walking down the hall towards the locker room, and you saw Vlade Divac have Dave Yeager in a headlock, but with smiles on their faces. Everyone's happy when you win, but you truly get the sense that this team is starting to come together, as Willie Cauley-Stein said, as a ball club. And I hope you guys are enjoying it as much as those players are. I know it's tough to open your hearts up. I know it's tough to believe. I struggle with it too. But my goodness, this is a fun ride right now. And these Sacramento Kings are 15-12 on December 13th. We'll take a break. We're going to switch to football for a few minutes next with our 4-down territory. Then back to Kings and Wolves at 7:35. Stick around in the drive. Sports 1140 KHTK. We're down territory brought to you by Fire Wings. Hey, Kyle, I just saw this. And, it's never good to mention another brand when you're doing a read for a competing brand, but
now you're going to go and do it.
Now I'm going to go and do it. Kentucky Fried Chicken is selling logs for your fireplace that smell like its original recipe fried chicken.
Gross.
You can get them for $20. I'm always looking for new ideas for Fire Wings. I would like a Fire Wings fire log that smells of breaded Malaysian curry. Or perhaps Jamaican jerk. Maybe Louisiana rub. I'll take that any day. So Fire Wings guys, if you're listening, I know you're busy with your new Nashville fire sandwich. Get on it. First down, Kyle Madson.
Oh, me.
Yeah,
that's right. I have stuff to do.
Where you talk.
Do you think the players care where the Raiders play next season?
I do. I do. Derek Carr was sounding confused yesterday, a little out of sorts. This is eventually going to get to these guys, and they're looking at maybe one more home game. One more home game for them to be in front of those Oakland fans. And the owner, Mark Davis, has no idea either.
Is there any place or chance you'll go to Las Vegas 1 year early, or is that not possible?
Options are open. And since we're talking about options, San Diego. Some people have thrown that out in terms of a possible landing spot for a year. Is that something?
All options are open.
So not ruling out San Diego?
No,
wouldn't that
not
be
ruling
something?
anything out.
He did later rule out San Antonio. He didn't rule out Sacramento. So Raiders to Sacramento confirmed.
Still alive.
Yeah, still alive. And Derek Carr said yesterday, he said this whole thing's crazy. We'll get to that a little bit later. You don't want the players dealing with this. But then again, what are they going to do? Lose?
I don't think so I don't think they want the outside noise. I think that's probably a little annoying because they're going to get asked about it. I think they care where they play as far as state income tax goes.
Sure. Well, then San Antonio would be great for them. Oh, and so would Nevada.
Yeah, so that's why I think that they care. But as far as where they physically play their home games, I don't think outside of maybe some personal, like if somebody's from San Diego.
Sure.
But outside of that, I don't think anybody cares.
Second down.
Second Second down.
If the Chargers win tonight, do they get the 1 seed in the AFC?
Well, if they win tonight, the Chargers win tonight, that means head-to-head it'll be 1-1. And then what did you say was the other tiebreaker there after you go head-to-head? Was it conference record?
I think it's division, then conference.
Is it division record? So if we take a look at the standings with both the Chargers and the Chiefs, and it's just unfortunate in this case they're in the same division. In the division, they're not going to catch the Chiefs. They're 2-2. The Chiefs are 4-0. So that's going to be very difficult. They'd have to finish a game ahead of the Chiefs. Here's what's interesting, though. If the Chargers beat the Chiefs, that puts them in a direct tie. They would both be 11-3. When you look ahead at the schedule, though, the Chargers finished the year home Baltimore, which, as you saw with Kansas City last week, is no cakewalk, and then in Denver. Those are two very winnable games for them. The Chiefs finish up at Seattle and then Oakland. I don't think those are two very winnable games for them. I think that's one very winnable game and a game in Seattle when, Seattle has proven they're a team to be reckoned with, especially there, and that's going to be on Sunday Night Football on NBC. So I'm not ready to say if the Chargers win tonight that this game is for the AFC West and therefore perhaps the 1 seed in the AFC period, but I think it's a conversation. I don't think it's outlandish to think the Chargers could win the AFC.
Yeah, so the question is specifically if the Chargers win tonight, do they get the 1 seed in the AFC? I'm going to say no.
Yeah, no.
Like if they win, it's not automatic like, oh man, they're the new favorite. But it certainly clears the path. The path is closed if they lose.
Third down.
Third down.
Do you think the Chiefs are still a Super Bowl threat without Kareem Hunt?
Doesn't look like it. It doesn't look like it. Look at their games without Kareem Hunt. So you had, I believe Hunt's last game was against the Rams. And that was a game they lost 54-51. Then they had the bye week, and Hunt's gone. Well, they beat Oakland by 7 at Arrowhead. That's not exactly a convincing victory, but you figure, okay, it's an AFC West game. Throw out the records. And then they needed overtime, and they needed a couple of Patrick Mahomes miracles. There were a couple of fourth down situations there where they had to convert, and they did in order to force overtime. And that very easily could have been a tie game, too. They beat Baltimore, who's not terrible, but Baltimore's not tremendous. They beat them 27-24. Excuse me, I said the Oakland game was at Arrowhead. I flip-flopped them. The Oakland game was out here. The Baltimore game was at Arrowhead. So that's 2 games without Kareem Hunt, and that's 2 wins. But watching the games and looking at them closer, Mahomes is still doing his thing, but Kareem Hunt gave them that big-time extra little piece of the offense. They still have a lot of weapons, but Spencer Ware hasn't exactly blown the socks off people. He may not play this weekend. Now they have the Chargers and Seattle coming up. That's going to tell me a lot about the Kansas City Chiefs.
Yeah, I think they can win a Super Bowl without Kareem Hunt, but it becomes much more difficult just because he was such a dynamic weapon for their offense. But Andy Reid is very creative. And Patrick Mahomes, we saw him last week. He's just dynamite. He's going to find ways to get guys the football, whether it's Kareem Hunt or Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce, or you or me. He's going to get the football to his playmakers.
This could be a completely separate question. Take away he's young or pressure situations and all that. Just ball for ball, skill for skill. Is there another quarterback in the NFL you'd want rather than Patrick Mahomes right now? I'm counting them all. Brady, Breeze. We'll save that. I'll put that in 4th down territory tomorrow. 4th down.
4th down. 4th down.
All right, Chargers, Chiefs, who you got?
All right, that is Thursday Night Football tonight. Chargers versus Chiefs at Arrowhead. Kansas City, a 3.5-point favorite. I'm going to rock the Chargers in the upset in this one. I think they're coming together at the right time. They're looking fantastic. They're on a roll. And the Kansas City Chiefs, as we just went through, aren't. They're not. This will be and also, by the way, Melvin Gordon likely will play tonight from what you're reading. I don't know how effective he'll be, but I imagine with the playoffs coming, I don't know that. I'm pretty sure they're going to be a little bit careful with him. So if he does play tonight, I'd like to think he's, if not 100% right there. I'm going to go with the upset. I don't like the way the Chiefs have looked the last 2 weeks. The Chargers have looked fantastic the last 3 weeks, besides that being probably closer than it should have been, 5-point win over the Bengals. I'm going to take LA, almost said San Diego, at Arrowhead.
Yeah, I think I'm going to go with the Chiefs because they are at home, and the home team just kind of has an advantage on Thursday nights. And I like Andy Reid to scheme up on a short week more than I like Anthony Lynn to scheme up on a short week. So I think the Chiefs get a narrow victory tonight.
I want to hear from you guys in the next segment. 339-1140, 1-800-920-1140. You can text us at 441140. It's 25 straight minutes of Kings. Then we get into Sam Amick and Katie Hunter at 8:35. Kyle's Cold Hard Facts brought to you by Coors Light. We'll move to 8:45 in the What's on Tap segment to make room for Katie. Kings setting records. I want to talk about the second half malaise that we're seeing at home and possible reasons why. And I want to talk about Willie Cauley-Stein and what he overcame last night towards the end of the game. A lot of storylines from last night. Kings win, beat the Timberwolves. They are in the playoffs if the season ended today. We're back into Sports 1140 KHTK.
This is Kyle Madson with your top stories on Sports 1140. The Sacramento Kings won again last night, 141-130 over the Timberwolves at Golden One Center. Nemanja Bjelica had a huge night against his former team. He had a game-high 25 points, 5 rebounds, 3 assists, and 2 blocks. He had 4 of the Kings' franchise record 19 three-pointers. Sacramento's off today. They host the Golden State Warriors tomorrow. Speaking of the Warriors, they lost to the Raptors by 20 last night at Oracle Arena down there in Oakland, and Toronto didn't even have Kawhi Leonard. Kyle Lowry led the way for the Raps with 23 points, 5 rebounds, and 12 assists. Week 15 of the NFL kicks off tonight with a doozy on Thursday Night Football. The Kansas City Chiefs are hosting the Los Angeles Chargers in an AFC West showdown with major playoff implications. Listen to that game right here on Sports 1140 with coverage beginning at 5 o'clock. It's 7:33. Time for Squeaky Clean to clean your gutters. Visit squeakyclean.com. Those are your top stories. Back to the drive on Sports 1140 KHTK.
It's The Drive on Sports 1140 KHTK.
Your calls at 339-1140. Your text on the Jiffy Lube text line at 44-1140. Sam Amick at 805 from The Athletic. Katie Hunter. She hunts Katie's. 835. Cold Hard Facts brought to you by Coors Light at 835. Kyle Madson, everybody, at the Kyle Madson Sports Desk. How are you?
Yeah, it's time to call your local Geico agent, Vince Harris, at 916-923-5050. That's 916-923-5050.
Got a guy on. But shout out to Cliff Larson, which, by the way, is a Manchester City fan, so this explains a lot. Cliff enjoys the Dallas Cowboys, the Giants, the Utah Jazz, Manchester City, Kentucky, and the Sacramento Republic. Well, we got a couple things in common there with the Giants and the Republic.
And the University of Kentucky.
I do have. They have the second place in my heart.
Right.
Behind, of course, Florida State. You're right. The new NBA rules, which pretty much eliminated playing defense, have helped the Kings probably more than any other team. 141-130 with no overtime. The NBA isn't watchable now. I guess you like watching basketball with zero defense, just jacking up shots. Basketball is not supposed to be this high scoring. It's supposed to be 190. What?
What?
Bro, he's serious.
What?
And he is sticking to it. This is a first. I just want to stop and savor for a second that this Kings season, in which they're 15-12 in December, we're now starting. Is this really the first we're hearing of? Sure, the Kings are awesome, but it's the rules that are hell. I feel like a Warrior fan almost. I don't like it. Like the Kings are doing great, but it's because the rules are helping them.
That would be a super valid argument, and I would see that guy's point if the rules were changed for the Kings only.
Well, he's saying that they help the Kings more than any other team.
That doesn't make any sense. Points are boring. I like when guys miss jump shots.
I mean, come on, Cliff.
You know what really gets me going? 24-second violations.
Listen, I like defense. I like 24-second violations. I enjoy defense. It's the way the game is. And you know what else I enjoy? I enjoy 19 3-pointers made. Yeah, you can say what you want. They're winning basketball games fair and square. I don't think they have any unfair advantages. Oh, by the way, defense or no defense, they shot 50% from behind the arc.
They're just jacking up threes, though. It's not basketball. It's trash. You know what I want? I want 10 guys inside the paint.
Right? Just clogging it up.
That's what I want to see. Back to the basket.
You want 89-81, those Knicks and Heat games? Two guys double teaming him. Absolutely. That's what I want. Who is this, Gary?
This is Andrew.
Andrew, I'm sorry. Hello, Andrew.
Hi, thanks for having me on. Love your guys' show. So I'm just trying to figure out who the Kings should be trying to trade for, what position. I saw that they're supposed to be buyers at the trade deadline. I don't know what you guys feel or who you think we should go after.
Well, and thank you, buddy.
His name was Andrew.
Andrew.
Not Buddy.
Sorry. That's my go-to.
Although if Andrew was a shooting guard for the Sacramento Kings, he would be Buddy Hield.
Yep, thank you. Buddy's my go-to when I forget the name, or bro, or guy.
Boss is mine.
So here's the deal. A lot of people are saying, well, and I'm not bagging on Andrew, but notice what he said. He said, I'm hearing the Kings are supposed to be buyers. So first off, that's kind of been jacked up over the last few days because Brian Windhorst said something on ESPN or a podcast or in an article. So I read it where he mentioned the Kings to be one of those teams that are buyers. That doesn't necessarily mean they're going to be. We've heard nothing and no indications that have changed out of the front office, other than they're the only team in the NBA with cap space, and they have $11 million of it. They've got just this side of $30 million in expirings, including $12 million with Zach Randolph, who's just been kind of hanging out, wearing suits, and being a good guy. So that's what's interesting when you look at what the Kings are doing. We talked about this yesterday. They still have bullets in the gun. They have not fired. They still
crazy out here.
They still have room to move here, to add somebody, and they can go around. The Kings are the only shop that is open in the NBA right now. Doesn't mean other people can't make trades.
And I think they're going to be extra aggressive at the trade deadline, though, because every team this offseason is going to have cap space.
Absolutely. And you don't want to compete with
Not
that.
Not every team, but a lot of teams are going to have cap space. And it's not a secret that if it comes down to the Knicks or the Kings, like a player is going to go play in New York or pick a different market.
Sure.
Like that. So I think if they can leverage those contracts for somebody who's under contract for a couple more years,
that's what it'll be. It's going to end up being. That's why when guys like Otto Porter pop up, that's why that's the type of deal that makes sense. But the Kings also know they're the only store that's legitimately open for cap relief right now. They're really the only store that has the shelves stocked, and that's a very advantageous position to be in.
Yeah, and so that's why I don't think right now on December 13th we need to worry about whether the Kings are going to be buyers or sellers or not. Like they are in the position of leverage here.
Yeah.
They don't have to go make a deal. They're not going to give away these contracts for like a second-round pick and an end-of-the-bench guy.
I would say that between now and the trade deadline, they're going to make a move. I don't know who it's going to be for, although logic would dictate it's going to be a 3. But it may also be a first-round pick. It may be something else. I don't know. That's also, by the way, assuming they don't trade a guy like Willie Cauley-Stein and open the door for Marvin Bagley to start at his spot and then bring Harry Giles in. There are one thing that Vlade and friends have given themselves is maneuverability, cap space, et cetera, et cetera. The only thing they don't have in the war chest are first-round draft picks. Obviously, they don't have theirs this year. They can't trade a first-round draft pick until 2020, I believe. 2021. But they have maneuverability. They have freedom. So I fully expect they're going to do something with this between now and the end of the year. And if they don't, there needs to be a really good reason. If we're sitting here in April or May or whenever the Kings season ends, and they've just sat on all of this, then we're going to have some serious questions to ask of the front office. I don't anticipate that happening. It's not really a matter of if they're going to make a move to me. It's a matter of when they're going to make a move. Hey, buddy, welcome into the drive. Hello.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
So this team, being a homer in Northern California, kind of reminds me of the San Francisco Giants of 2010, where they unexpectedly are doing really well. Because if we remember back then, I don't think anybody really expected the Giants to do as well as they did.
No.
But they got some ragtag guys that are all gelling for whatever reason. Their personalities are gelling. You got guys like Willie Cauley-Stein saying we're a ball club and using those kind of words. And then also, like, look at last night, for example. We beat a really good Timberwolves team, or who at least is playing really good right now, and we kind of, like, demoralized them the whole game. Every time the T-Wolves got a jump, the Kings just came back and just stuffed it right in their face. So, like, do we really need to add any pieces? I think really the only type of piece that I'd want to see added, if anything at all, is a hustler, a rebounder, a team player, somebody who just brings tons of energy and grit and just teamwork, not somebody who's like a Jimmy Butler or some other all-star. I don't even want another gamer. I just want somebody who's going to come in and just be like a really good addition teamwork-wise and hustle-wise and rebound-wise.
I appreciate the call, and you bring up a lot of great points. Let me throw some water on some things here, though. And again, this is just one guy's opinion. And let's not get too far ahead of ourselves. The Kings right now are the 8th seed in the West by a half a game. And also on top of that, the Kings are – let me see how it plays out here. Let me put it in front so I make sure. The Kings right now are 3 games out of the number 1 seed in the Western Conference. Okay. The Kings are also 2.5 games out of second to last place in the Western Conference. That's how close it is. Okay. So let's put out a few things here. What's going on right now is phenomenal and it's fun to watch. But this is not an upper echelon team, and it's not going to be an upper echelon team this year. It's just not. That's just not the way it's going to go. You can believe that if you want, but you're not looking at a 50-win season. You're just not. If you get a 500 or even a 45-win season, great. And I know I'm splitting hairs here, but you ask yourself, do you want to put your team in the best position to compete for a championship? I understand the idea of not bringing in somebody that is going to just completely dominate the team, which is why I was half kidding when I said yesterday, I don't know how I'd feel if Kevin Durant wanted to sign with the Kings in the offseason. Of course, Kevin Durant will make this team better. But Kevin Durant will also bring in, and again, I'm saying this to make a point, Durant's not signing here. He would bring the Durant circus. He would bring the Durant drama. He would bring the Durant attitude. But he would also bring the Durant amazing skills at being a basketball player. And if that helped them win a championship at this point, I'd cut off a digit to win a championship. But if you told me we could win a championship in 3 years with this core leading the way, or next year with Kevin Durant, I'm sorry, I'd wait the extra couple years. I've waited this long. So I understand that point. But there's nobody on this team. I saw an article on one of the websites, might have been Kings Fans or Sacktown Royalty, one of the sites yesterday. And it said, here's my list of untradeable Kings. And it was like 5 long. I looked at it, I was like, no, there's literally not an untradeable King.
If you want to fall in love with your team and keep this team together and have the same guys year in and year out, with the exception of maybe a couple end of the bench guys, that is how you stay as a 8 seed to 5 seed ish and don't go anywhere in the NBA. Like, it's a star driven league.
Yeah.
And you're eventually going to have to make a move to contend with the Warriors and the Raptors and the Bucks and the Celtics. Like, I get that people are big fans of a lot of guys on this team, but this is not how the team is going to look in February or next October.
No.
It's going to look Very different.
It will look, I think most of the pieces will still be here, and that's what's great about the Kings.
Yeah, the core for sure.
They have the ability to add an impact player, most likely, without trading one of their core assets. And if they need to get Otto Porter, odds are they're not going to have to trade Bogey, Giles, Bagley, Fox, Buddy. No, they shouldn't. They're going to be able to bail somebody out. But maybe I can't sit here and tell you that if they just kept the team as it is right now, for all I know, they could win a championship with this exact roster with a couple of injury exceptions in 3 years. But this isn't, the one thing he did say at the beginning, and as a Giants fan, I totally empathize with this, was the 2010 Giants. But here's what we have to understand too: this isn't baseball.
Yeah, that's not
how it works.
Biggest thing, right?
It's just not how it works. Things are going to shake out by the end of the year. You're going to see most of the teams that we predicted at the beginning of the year to be at the top. It happens every single year. There are very few exceptions, and I can think of maybe the Detroit Pistons when they beat Shaq and Kobe's Lakers, but you still had stars there. Nobody expected that. Generally, it's a process to get to that point. You have to grow, you have to mature, and you have to add pieces. And they need a 3. They don't need a point guard. They don't need a shooting guard. They don't need a power forward. I could see them moving a center. I don't know if Bagley and Giles can be your long-term centers. So I could see them bringing in not Tyson Chandler, but a Tyson Chandler type, a guy who can play the middle and play good defense. But they need a 3. That is their glaring weakness, is a 3 forward. If they have an opportunity to add somebody, I'm not worried about shaking up the mix. It's got to be the right guy. You have to be aware of his attitude. You don't want to bring a cancer onto this team. Of course you don't. And I think Vlade has proven if there's one strength above all that he has, he's very good at identifying good character guys that will come on board and fit well into the locker room.
Yeah, and that's something I know it's very odd to put faith in a Kings front office, but I think you have to do that at this point. Mm-hmm. With what Vlade and the front office have done in constructing this team, I think if they're going to make a move, you have to trust that, all right, like they put this team together, they know what they need to do to tweak it, and you have to ride with that. So if they have an opportunity to add a player like Otto Porter, which kind of falls around what Buddy was saying there.
Right.
Was that kind of hustle, like 3-and-D type of guy who doesn't need the ball in his hands, but is going to go out there and do his job night in and night out. That's the kind of player Otto Porter is, and he's very good at it.
He's very good at that.
And so when you throw out a name like that, like that's the kind of piece they need. They're not going to go try and get Kawhi Leonard. They're not going to ship out half their core to add one guy.
Cleaning up the text line at 441140, brought to you by Jiffy Lube. Let's get to the people that are mad. From the 916, incredible that Dave knows this isn't a 50-win season. Did he know the season was going to go like it is? I didn't. And I started this whole thing by saying it's one guy's opinion. If you think it's a 50-win season, God bless you. Go ahead. I don't think it's a 50-win season. I do think 500, give or take 3-4 games, is absolutely in play. That's a lot different than how I thought the season would go and how 98% of anybody thought the season would go. I'm telling you, I don't think it's a 50-win season. If you'd like to come down here and bet me cash that the Kings are going to win 50 games this year, I'll happily take that bet. But again, that's my opinion. From the 916, good morning, Dave. You're interesting. Oh, that never goes. That's like when my wife says I'm being funny. I guess Grant, Jerry, and Doug don't know what they're talking about because Grant said this team is very good.
Oh, snap. Now, I know that you and Grant never talk.
Never.
So maybe we need to try an effort to get him on the show so you guys can hash out
we can go at
this difference. Why don't you at him?
Yeah, so let's just clarify there. This team so far has been a good team. I'm saying they're not a title contender this year. That's what we're talking about when the last caller said, I don't know if I'd add anybody. It's a matter of whether or not you want to accelerate this process they're in. They're a good team. They've
really
proven that. In my opinion, this is not an upper echelon squad. This is not a top 10 NBA team. They might be right around top 10. At all. I don't think that's that controversial. I don't think that's raining on a parade. Hell, they're 15-12. They just beat the Timberwolves. They have phenomenal chemistry. Phenomenal chemistry. But I do think it's a mistake to sit back and say, leave it alone.
Hey, FYI, when people are saying it's a 50-win team, through 27 games, 15 and 12, they're on pace to win about 46.
And they're 15 and 12. Now, the counter argument there would be they're on pace to win about 46. They've played a top 10 tough schedule in the NBA. They've now played 3 more road games than they have home games, blah, 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 blah.
Sure.
I don't think 50 wins is impossible.
Right,
I think 50 wins is highly improbable.
So that was my whole point. Is there a path to 50 wins? Sure. But they're on pace to win about what you were saying, in that 40 to 45 range. Mm-hmm. So it's not like you're being some Debbie Downer.
No, but listen, I get it. We're on a high and then
68 wins.
Right. It's like, don't get too high, don't get too low, and you'll find that habit with me. When
I don't think and that's just it. That's I guess my issue is you're being neither high nor low. No. You're looking at their record and saying, "Hey, they're on pace to win about this many games."
Sure.
That's just looking at a number.
And they could win more. I want them to do more.
That would be neat.
Would love that.
That'd be really neat.
Would love to see
the show's much easier when they win.
But you do have, and listen, I love it, man. These fans have been through so much, and we're not speaking for every fan here, but there's a group of fans. It's like, we're winning. I want winning talk. I want it's all purple. It's all rose. Dude, they're awesome. This season has exceeded anyone's expectations so far.
I've been with this show a little over a year now. I got on this show just before last season started.
Yeah.
The difference in conversation we're having through 27 games now,
it's fantastic,
versus 27 games last year, is insane. And I started at the station in 2011, and it was a lot of the same conversations as we were having last year. But now today, we're having an argument about whether they're going to finish 500 or win 50 games.
Right.
That's incredible.
Isn't that fantastic? Where the hell are we? What dream is this? Am I in a coma?
Like we went from last year going, gosh, if they can get to 30 wins, that'd be awesome.
I think what a lot of people sometimes mistake is that Grant and I agree on about 98% of things when it comes to the Kings. We just say them differently. That's all. We just say them absolutely differently. I think if you're a Sacramento Kings fan, you've got to be really happy that we're having an argument over how good this team can be. And should they add, let's just take a moment, should they add a really good player that they could acquire because they have all this cap space, they have all these expiring contracts, or should they leave this core alone when we're talking about the road to winning a title? How great is that? And if there's a hype train on this team, if there's a hype bandwagon for this team, and you want to say that I'm at the very, very back of the train and I'm barely climbing on, I'll wear that. I'll absolutely wear that. And I think there's a lot more people out there that are like me than not, where it's like, oh, I'm all in. I'm loving it. I'm excited.
You're not on the bandwagon. You're on the band caboose.
I'm on the, yes.
That's the name of today's show.
I'm just absolutely ecstatic I'm ecstatic for the people that have suffered through so much that are seeing some fun, and I really just want to enjoy it because you never know. It could be fleeting. It could be fleeting. They could win 50 games this year, and they could win 35. I think 35 is about set sail, but I'm enjoying every freaking win we get, and I enjoy the fact that we're looking forward to a game tomorrow night against the defending champions, and we truly think we have a chance to win because we do.
Yeah.
We truly have a chance to win.
Yep.
Sam Amick will join us next. Talk about how he's going to put the Kings perhaps, I don't know, number 3, number 2 in his power rankings next week. We'll figure all that out right here on The Drive. Sports 1140 KHTK. But first, here's Kyle Madson.
Hey, it's 7:55 and time to call your local Geico agent, Vince Harris, our guy at 916-923-5050. That's 916-923-5050.
Back with Sam Amick of The Athletic right here on Sports 1140 KHTK.